UT Tyler led the effort in Texas that there's something called, it's a long name, Voluntary Mechanical Engineering Transfer Compact. We did it through the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, which is equivalent to the Board of Regents, that 18 of the 39 public universities, not all do engineering, signed on to it. There are 80 community colleges in Texas, 80. About 50 of those signed on, that students who took this curriculum could be seamless from getting an associate's degree in engineering to go straight into mechanical engineering at any of those 18 major universities. And we actually, my dean and myself, we led that effort. So having a community college that's a few miles away that has 20,500 students, it makes perfect sense that UNO is closely aligned with them. Makes perfect sense. Also, one last thing, I know I'm rambling a little bit. UT Tyler has never in its history offered remedial courses. Just never did it. Well, what we did at UT Tyler was a TJC math professor would come on our campus and teach a TJC introductory math course for students who really needed remedial work while they were registered at UT Tyler and also registered for 3 credits at TJC. And we also, to have the seamless transfer for engineering, one of our engineering faculty would go to TJC and teach an introductory engineering course at TJC, so the students could, and TJC wouldn't have to pay for that person. Nor would we pay for the person who came on our campus. So those type of partnerships you have to do.
All right, and I think that concludes our questions from our search committee. We do have some questions that have been submitted from the audience, and for about the next 10 minutes, Dr. O'Hara, will you take us through that activity?
Thank you, Dr. Moffitt, and good morning, Dr. Fos, Ms. Fos, again. I'm going to touch on some topics. I have several questions here, actually, and I'm going to select a few that touch on some topics that have not been broached this morning. The first question comes from David Hoover, who's a faculty member here at the university. He'd like to know, due to the fact that the arts are the backbone of the cultural economy, and of course the cultural economy is very important to New Orleans, what is your background with regards to the arts, and how would you grow these programs?
Okay. Believe it or not, for a guy who's a healthcare administration professor and a decision scientist, I actually have a pretty good background in the arts. My experience first started at University of Southern Mississippi, which has a very, very well-developed arts with the symphony orchestra and theater and et cetera. And so I was involved in that. But at UT Tyler is actually where I've actually done more work with that. UT Tyler has music and voice, and while I was there, to give emphasis on campus, was I changed it from a department to a school of performing arts, and included them on the excellence campaign to develop it. And I'm proud to say that they just got site visited for the NSAM, I think it is. Did I say it right? That's pretty good. That we had to build up to that to get it to go. But let me tell you sort of generally, Dr. O'Hara, what the arts on a campus does, it actually has a great contribution to the entire student body, no matter which major they're in. If you have a strong arts program, both in the visual and performing arts, what you're telling people is that the university embraces creativity. The university embraces students being able to explore. It embraces that students are allowed to express themselves. So any university needs to have a very, very strong arts program, because that's what separates universities from other things. It's a place where you should be able to explore. It's a place where you should be able to express yourself. And it's not just students in art. You can do collaborations with business in that. If there's a theater production, who's going to be the ticket manager, et cetera. So I think it's a vital part. I don't know enough about what's going on now, and Dr. Krantz didn't tell me enough yesterday on our tour, but I'm committed that we'd have to grow the arts. Just seeing all the movies being made in New Orleans. I went on a tour yesterday, and we saw 2 movie shoots yesterday afternoon. Our film, theater, and communication arts program should be the best in the world. That should be our goal. I know we have that sound studio that Dr. Krantz told me about, but we need to, I think that might be one of the signature programs, I don't know, but we need to build those things and grow those things.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Jan Hooks, a member of the staff here at the university. She'd like to know what impact does an athletic program have on student recruitment, and how would you engage the students to support such programs?
Athletics, you said, right?
Yes.
I figured no one would ask me a question about that here today. I guess my assumption was incorrect. Well, this is my feeling. I've been at 2 universities where sports was a major part of the university, and I've also been at one that was Division III. What athletic program does for recruitment and as well as retention, it allows the students to identify with the university in an area other than the classroom. Everybody understands what goes on in the classroom. It gives an opportunity for faculty and staff to identify with the university other than what they do every day for work. It is the source of school pride, athletics. I'll just give an example. When I was at Southern Miss, game week of football, you could feel it in the air. Students, staff, everybody talked about the football game. The Friday before a football game, everybody wore black and gold. I'd go in a suit with a gold tie, and students would all, and the staff would all dress. It's sort of like we would happen to see on a Friday in New Orleans now when the Saints play. That's pride. So athletics gives students pride. And I think it's the ultimate form of community outreach, athletics, because people get to know about the university through sports. If you ever watch a collegiate game on television, the commercials, they tell you about the university. They show the research and everything. So I think an athletics program is essential to the university, because it's the place where we can demonstrate this pride. And if the students are proud to be a student, they'll stay here, or they'll come here, and they'll graduate.
Thank you. Next question comes from Lindsay Jekyll, who's a graduate student at the university. She'd like to know, under your accomplishments at UT Tyler, you list the establishment of the Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Assessment. What would be your vision for such an office here at UNO?
Okay. When I arrived at UT Tyler, we were 2 years from a SACS visit, and I learned that we didn't do any assessment school university-wide, which is not good. So I established an Office of Assessment and Institutional Effectiveness. And what it did was, that's not institutional research. We actually had that. I could tell you how many hours people taught and what was the average salary, what was the gender breakdown of the faculty and staff. It's not that. It's much different. What we did at UT Tyler, we had a university-wide assessment system using a platform called TrackDat, and my director and her assistant would make sure that everybody assessed all their programs, et cetera. And the institutional effectiveness actually was, were we meeting our academic goals? And we had parameters for that. I'm not sure what goes on here right now, but you don't just do assessment when the accrediting body's coming. You always should evaluate so you can improve. And what her role was as director was continuous quality improvement of the academic programs and the assessments. And everybody was forced to in August to have an assessment plan. And during the year they would collect the data. They had to analyze the data, and every July they had to come to my office with a new plan for the next year, showing me how to use the data before. So that's I don't know if that goes on here, but that's what we did at UT Tyler, and I'd want that to happen here as well.
Dr. Moffitt, I think we have time for one more question. This question comes from Sybil Boudreau, a faculty member here at the university, who would like to know, do you think post-tenure review is valuable to the quality of education at the university? And if so, how would you structure such a process at UNO?
Okay. That might be the most difficult question that I've had today. I think post-tenure review is very valuable. In reality, it really hadn't had any teeth in it or in enforcement in all the universities that have been. And the issue is, unfortunately, is that some of us, once we reach tenure, stop. We just stop doing what we did to reach tenure. And I always try to tell my faculty that once you reach tenure, the weight is off your shoulder. It's now time to really explode as a scholar at a university. And instead of saying, phew, I got tenure now, I can relax, which unfortunately a very small percentage do, but they do. At UT Tyler, for example, we had post-tenure review every 6 years, and it's very difficult to actually enforce any recommendations from that. What we would do, we'd put faculty on development plans and work with them and counsel them, and sometimes it would work. But I think everyone should be evaluated every year to see whether they're meeting their expectations. And so post-tenure review is valuable if at least we can make faculty members recognize some of the deficiencies or some of the expectations they're not meeting.
Thank you. That concludes our questions. Dr. Moffitt.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Foss, and we appreciate your being with us and will be with us throughout the day. Our schedule now calls for the search committee to enter into executive session. So at this time, I would ask that the committee meet in executive session pursuant to revised statute 42:6.1 to discuss personnel issues associated with our candidate. While in executive session, the committee may meet with its staff, legal counsel, or other persons it deems necessary. No motions or other action may be taken while in executive session. I need a motion and a second to go into executive session.
I move, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Guidry moves. Mr. Kudrain seconds. Erica, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Paul Oquan?
Yes.
Mr. Andre Kudrain?
Yes.
Mr. David Guidry?
Yes.
Mr. Gerald Hebert? I'm sorry, Ms. Renee Laparolari?
Yes.
Mr. John Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Long?
Yes.
Dr. Neil Maroney?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Winfred Sabille? Yes. It is unanimous.
Okay, we'll meet downstairs in the boardroom. Thank you.